A note from our little jungle, water lily flowers, birdie, num num. That's from the party. Peter Sellers finds macaw, and he talks about birdie num num. That's the food of the bird for Peter Sellers. An Indian in a film, Bakshi Mitao. Note on positive psychology in practice from the jungle. In fact, on a side note or related, positive psychology in gardening, let's say, I've read earlier this morning in The Economist about what people like, uh, what what would be good for landscapers to use in cities and to avoid. Using artificial intelligence, it was in the science section of the Science and Technology of The Economist. Using artificial intelligence, they try to figure out what we like more in surrounding. It was found that levels of life satisfaction depend on the surroundings, and surroundings which are considered nice offer a better experience. Maybe it made sense, but it's interesting that it's demonstrated. And so the next step was see to see what makes what sort of landscape, beautiful landscape that is, so that they can try potolește-te, mă. Not with macaws, no, I would say, because they're noisy. And studies show that we do not adapt to noise. Hedonic adaptation, this phenomena makes it that we adapt to almost anything. But noise, loud noise, is not one of them. Living near the airport is not uh, feasible from this point of view. That is, you can't say you adapt to it. Coming back, it's not like an airport, of course. It's not like an airplane, as noisy as that. Alhamdulillah and inshallah. But still, it can be annoying at times. Returning, it was found that yes, of course, the image of a lake, a mountain, is beautiful and people appreciate it. But what I found interesting. I mean, I didn't realize that we're not some. We love green, but not grass really. Trees and bushes would be better used by landscapers in cities if they want to make people feel well. Bushes and trees, we need to note that, and less grass. And anthropologists and I don't know what other categories were involved could find an explanation for this. That's because it goes back to our history, and it reminds people of the Africa where we lived, and our ancestors lived, of course, for so long. And trees and bushes recall that time without the animals. Porche. So, well, I have a little more time, and I will just mention a little bit on the initial subject. What I had in mind was learned optimism and learned pessimism. Martin Seligman in the 60s, father of positive psychology, but much later in the 60s, was working on experiments. He was not the initiator. It wasn't his idea. He was just employed there. People were testing on dogs to see what happens. They gave them electric shocks, alas, and so at different stages, they gave the dogs the possibility to jump from their box to a different box where electric shocks would not be applied. But those who have been so it was in like in Pavlov, they would ring a bell, and the bell would announce an electric shock, and they wanted to see what happens when it's just a bell, and they were thinking that the dogs would jump, but they didn't, and that's also what people do in when they experience this phenomena of learned pessimism. When in a first experiment they see that there's nothing they can do, they can't stop the big sounds or something annoying. In a further experiment, even if they have these possibilities, they don't use it because they have learned to be pessimistic. But the opposite is also true. We can learn to be optimistic, and that's what we should do.